Right, let's see if we're live. It looks like we are. Let me see. Live video is starting. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it up here in on my phone as well so I can see all you lovely ladies when you hop in. All right, we're live. Awesome. Okay. Oh, says that it's been paused. Oh, no, there it goes. Okay, so let me make sure y'all can hear me. You guys, I'm so excited for this. Okay, let's get going. When you hop in live, whether you are watching live or on the replay, let me know if you can hear me. Pop in, say hello. Today is the day 1 of 2 for the quantum shift training. So I'm going to keep these into an hour or less. I want them to be short and effective for you. And yeah, and that way it is going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. So pop in. Welcome. Today is your first day of quantum shifting into your next level now. This is to help you understand the emotional and energetic dynamics of quantum shifting and healing to increase your impact and your income. So everyone that I have worked with and when I've done this with myself, literally, quite literally, shifts their inner state so that they know that they are not lacking anything, they are worthy, they break the patterns of fear and lack and stuckness and all the things, and quite literally step into their next level now. So they're owning as if the thing that they want is already happened, and very much of that is the experience of embodying your expansion, whether this is for a future partnership or money or business or whatever area you are focusing on. When we focus on already having it, already feeling the way we want to feel when we have the thing, we're focusing on that and actualizing it and manifesting it and allowing it and already experiencing it versus being in the lack of the thing. So welcome in. We're quantum shifting. Today is the foundation. I'm going to teach you the process, clearing the clutter, becoming aware, and tomorrow we're gonna fully step into embodying it. So you're gonna have a little bit of homework today as well. So as you pop in, say hi, whether you're live or catching the replay, drop in the chat. Just say, my quantum shift is now. So whether you're watching live or on the replay, just type it in, my quantum shift is now. It's now. It is now. You do not have to wait for your quantum shifts. It's all in your head anyway. So today I will be sharing with you the energetic and emotional dynamics that are the foundation to creating and experiencing quantum shifts in your healing, in your personal development, in your life, in your business, so that you can have a greater impact. This therefore means you have greater income, and it quite literally teaches you how to get unstuck and really expand into your next level, whatever that is for you. Most people, it's a feeling of abundance or who they get to be in confidence and knowing and conviction or desire of really stepping into what it is that you're wanting to create. So you're most likely here because you have either been feeling stuck or are starting to feel kind of stuck, or you're like, oh, it's just not, things aren't happening as fast as I want them to. And you've probably tried business coaching, talk therapy, mindset work. Hey, Miss Kate Bailey, welcome in, boo. And you aren't getting the results that you've been going for. So, hey, baby. This is really to help shift the inner space of us trying to cling to the outer space to make things happen. So you've done the business coaching, you've done the mindset work, you've done the talk therapy, you've done all these things, and you're like, I don't really feel that much differently. Like you've had success, you've had shifts, you've had things happen, but it's not like the quantum like leap that you've been wanting. So this is where mindset alone is not cutting it. And if you've ever experienced emotional pain, trauma, things in the past where the unknown and expansion and that pleasure even that can happen maybe doesn't feel safe to your nervous system and your body. So we're going to be addressing those things today. So in this, you might even feel like with all of that, you're even fighting against yourself a little bit, whether that's against your emotions, your physical body. You're trying to push through to your next level. However, it's feeling hard. It's like this going uphill, like you're pushing things uphill rather than going with your innate intuition, your own flow, your own inner knowings, your own inner guidance. You feel like you're going against all of that. And you have this feeling of like you're constantly pushing. And it's become exhausting. Drop it in the chat. Let me know if you're like, yeah, I know that feeling, whether it's been in the past or you're feeling it right now. It's this trying to push it to make it happen. And what you really want is to soften that, and you want to soften and expand and open up into your next level and to allow, to receive, rather than manhandling, right? Like old school patriarchy, manhandling your way into what you want. And you don't want to do it like you've done it in the past. You want to experience these shifts in a way that feels soft but strong, in a way that feels aligned with you. So you might also, I know I've talked to a couple of you that feel like the success that you've created so far still hasn't filled this deep void that's within you. And deep down, you're still seeking that next thing, trying to fill the void. So what that actually creates is this consistent, like you're still seeking, you're still searching, you're still chasing, you're still running, you're still trying to get that thing that's then going to make you feel a certain way, rather than filling you up, reconnecting you back to your own truth, back to accessing your own abundance, your own resource in this moment, rather than when you get more income or more clients, or your business finally goes the way you want it to, or your relationship, your partner finally did the thing, versus feeling better prior. So you have come to realize that these are patterns. These are patterns, and they are creating what feels like self-sabotage. And I will tell you, I will confirm, it is the thing that's holding you back. It is the thing that's in between you and what you want. And so there is, kind of sometimes like with that, but it's also like how exciting, because it means that once you become aware of it, you can actually do something with it. So you're here because you want to break these patterns. You want to break the patterns of fear, of lack, of pain, of doubt, of self-sabotage. You want to gain control over how you feel and know how to soothe your body, aka your nervous system, or even your mind, your thoughts, on demand. So you learn how to not be at the whim of your emotions or your mental overwhelm, which is really essential to you feeling in your power, in your body, and taking action from a place of fulfillment and purpose and knowing and truth and conviction, versus I need this thing in order to have. So it shifts. This is the energetic, the emotional factors and the foundation of really stepping into and embodying your next level now, versus when the thing happens, right? So it's the chicken before the egg kind of experience here, but it's all the inner work that is what creates the biggest shifts externally, right? So drop in the chat, let me know, what do you desire to release in this training, in the next 2 days together? What is it that you desire to release? Are you ready to release the resistance to what you desire? Are you ready to release the fear of not having it, of not getting it, of I'm not enough? Are you wanting to release the pain? Maybe there's pain around past pain or painful experiences, something happened that you feel like is in between you and what you want. Are you wanting to release that void? Are you wanting to fill the void? Are you wanting to release the sense of lack or scarcity or doubt? Drop it in the chat. Let me know. Don't be shy. We all have something. Awesome. So as you drop those in, I'll continue to keep going. So what I know for sure is there are a few things that you need to embody to create any kind of change or quantum shift in your life, right? So yes, we can have things cataclystically happen in our lives, whether it's good or bad, that cause us, we have to, it's like it changed our life, right? Those things happen often, actually, for people. However, when we want to be more in the driver's seat or the captain of our own ship, so to speak, there are three things that energetically and emotionally in you in order for this inner work to work, for the quantum shifts to happen. So, first and foremost is to commit to yourself to break the patterns, to commit to yourself to putting yourself first in the sense of taking like your own oxygen mask first and really taking care of you before going on and trying to manage and control and take care of others. Committing to your decision to change this pattern that's holding you back. So, you committing to you, it is essential. Before you can commit to a job, to a partner, to kids, to anything else, you have to commit to you. And that's you committing to showing up. So this leads into the second, which the second is invest. Invest in yourself with your attention, with your time, with your emotions, with your awareness, sometimes with your money, depending on what the thing is, but choosing to invest in yourself and make this healing process, this inner work, this emotional, energetic, dynamic, or foundation a priority and essential to your well-being. And this is being invested in you and therefore showing up. So a lot of the time people invest in things. Maybe you buy a package at a gym and you show up for a week or a month and then you stop going. So this part of investment is not just financial, it's in your time, your energy, you showing up for you. So first is committing, deciding that you're going to commit and break the pattern, commit to showing up for it. And investing is the showing up. Investing is the I'm committed, I'm here, I'm showing up, I'm investing myself into this. And the third is to decide. And to decide that the time is now. The time is now. There's a saying that what we resist persists. So many people, it's funny, especially in the work that I do with like emotional healing work, that many people shy away from personal development and healing work because they kind of like agonize over thinking about how painful or how hard or uncomfortable the inner work will be, or talking about, whatever it is. However, the alternative is to just continue trying to avoid or spending your energy, your mental energy, your emotional energy, your physical health, your actual time, your mental time, and life running from the pain that you're actually already feeling. So what you resist persists. So when people decide the time is now to face the fear, to face the pain, to learn how to communicate differently, or to learn how to break the pattern, or to learn the personal development or the healing process, to release these things, to change the habits, to change the patterns, to do things differently, to create a new version of ourselves or a new identity or a new way of being, it then ceases and stops running your life. So what many people don't understand is when they don't decide to actually take action, to do something, to invest in themselves, to commit to themselves, to commit to changing the thing, is you inevitably will keep reverting back to your old identity, to your old familiar patterns, that old painful home-based feeling, because it is a comfort zone in the sense that it's a pattern, and it's where many people get stuck. Many people spend their entire lives there thinking that this is just who I am and this is just how I do things, and I don't want to talk about things that are painful and those kinds of things. And this isn't to ruminate, this isn't to like get stuck on stories from 20 years ago. However, that is what happens when people don't heal the core wound, or they don't heal their story around it, or they don't learn how when they physically, emotionally get triggered or mentally get triggered by similar situations, and they don't have a sense of awareness or control over their own internal dialogue, their emotions, their thoughts, and therefore it holds them into patterns, old patterns that are holding them back. And that is when people feel like they're sabotaging themselves. So decide. So we have commit, invest, and decide. So let me know in the chat, you can pop it in. Out of all of these three, between committing to yourself to break the pattern or investing in yourself to show up, whether this is with your time, your emotions, your mental energy, your finances, or deciding that the time is now to stop living this way and to face the fears and to create these shifts and these changes and to have the courage to move through things even when it's uncomfortable or fearful or doesn't feel good. Which of these three for you creates the most resistance? I'm super curious. Drop it in the chat, whether you're on live or replay, whether you struggle or haven't decided to commit to yourself, or the commitment to breaking the pattern, or the investment, like you're not showing up for it, or the decision, like the time is now. You all have no idea how many people I speak to that are like, oh, I've been wanting to work with you. I want to work with you, but now is just not the time. I'm not ready to go there. And while I honor people's timing and decision around that, I'm never going to push somebody into trying to work with me. But I hear it a lot. And what happens is those people never actually come back and work with me. And I will see them a year later, 5 years later, 10 years later, and they are still stuck in that same pattern and the same fears and the same things. And it's not that they're not growing as humans, but they're still stuck in patterns that aren't allowing them to fully step into who they really are and what's actually possible for them, because they're still playing off of old identities, old patterns, old ways of being that are stuck in old pains that they think that they don't want to face and don't want to deal with and can't whatever, but it's actually running their life. So it's actually causing more long-term pain rather than working through what's coming up in that moment. So I just wanted to share that. So let me know in the chat, drop in whether it is commitment, investment, or deciding, which it is for you. And there's really great news with all of this that I'm saying, because I know sometimes it can be, when we're talking about inner work and healing and personal development, where people are like, they get, that last piece I was talking about deciding, like, nope, it's time. Like I'm not gonna stick in this resisting, persisting habit. And now is the time. So the great news is that there is so many ways to move through these feelings of being stuck, and actually stepping into actualizing what you desire, what you want to experience, into these quantum shifts. So this allows you to step into increasing the things that you do want in your life and experiencing that feeling state now. So in the process that I've used to quite literally actualize pretty much everything I've ever wanted to do, and it's always a work in progress, right? There's always going to be different things that happen, new desires, new things that I want to create. And it's not a magic pill. So sometimes things can happen overnight, and other times it takes sticking with something and working with whatever your own resistance is to have those things actualize. So I use this with my clients. It helps them get unstuck. It helps them get back into their truth and their power and back into taking bold action, which therein inevitably helps them increase their impact, their income, and quite literally quantum shifts them into who they truly are, and which also shifts everything around them. So let me know in the chat. I'm about to dive into the core of the training here, but let me know in the chat, in this quantum shift that you're seeking, is it you wanting to fill the void and feel like heal your heart, feel a certain way? Is it that you desire to increase your impact, like you want to feel more confident, more bold, more with more conviction, and getting to reach the masses, right, with your message, like you're getting to reach more people? Or is it more on the income, like you're like, yo, I've done a lot of this stuff and I want to increase my income, and all of these things of course tie in together. But I'd love to know for you, drop it in the chat, if you're wanting to increase your income, you're wanting to fill the void, heal your heart, and have that emotional shift, or increasing your income. So let me know if it's impact, healing your heart, like that inner void, or increasing your income, or all three. You can say all three too. But let me know which one speaks to you the most. I'm curious, as most people have one over the other specifically. So let's dive into the essentials of today's training. The three-step process that I use with my clients, and I've used this for myself in my own personal practice, it's simple, it's solution based, it is backed by science because I do a lot of body based things, and it is more in depth than I can really get into here in one, like listing session here of like letting you know what the thing is. So there is deeper somatic work and different things that I use in with this, but this is the essential foundation or structure um, that goes into clearing the clutter, breaking the patterns, and getting you back into your truth and taking action. So this is the foundation of breaking patterns. And when we break those patterns and come back into embodying that we already have everything we need in this moment, it allows you to experience those quantum shifts, right? It shifts the entire experience of how you feel in your body and where you operate from. So you're coming from a inner foundation and resource versus trying to pull and grab the things externally. So let's dive in. So the first step to clear the mental, the first step to clear the mental and emotional clutter, first and foremost, is awareness. And I know this is simple, it's basic. It is probably what every personal development or addiction program process, whatever, has ever told you. And a lot of people are not actually aware of the behavioral, mental, or emotional, or financial patterns that are actually holding them back and that actually come in as self-sabotage or that actually come in. So are you aware? And are you aware of the potential comfort, even though it doesn't feel comfortable and you're probably here like, and I'm here because it's not comfortable, but the almost like the home base or the homeostasis that you've gotten used to because you haven't been aware of what the actual patterns are. And they're usually tied into a painful emotion. But these are the things, the ways of being, the behaviors, the patterns that most people revert back to when they get scared, when they start getting overwhelmed or doubt, or some cataclysmic event happens and they get hurt, they feel emotionally or physically hurt. And these patterns come in to try and protect us, to keep us safe, to keep us from going into the unknown of, the quantum of when we create new identities or create new ways of living. That unknown can feel really scary and unfamiliar. So if you think of a couple that's been together for a really long time, if a partner starts to shift, maybe they decide to stop drinking, or maybe they decide they want to try something different, the other partner might be like, whoa, 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 like, what are you doing? That's not how we do this. Because there's relational patterns between people that it's a comfort zone. But when one is trying to maybe expand or grow or try something different, the other one can sometimes pull the other back because it's out of a comfort zone. So this is a pattern. And many people, especially if it's something, whether it's in a relationship with someone or just how you live your life, when we're not aware of certain patterns, they become just what we think is just us or our identity or normal, how we live in our life. And sometimes these patterns are outdated. A lot of the time they are. And when we become aware of them, we allow ourselves to actually decide, do I want to break this pattern? Do I want to expand? Do I want to shift? So this awareness, while again, it's simple and basic and it's like a part of every personal development system, is really becoming clear. And the beauty of having a painful pattern is because it's painful, it grabs your attention and it has an urgency to it, to where it's like, oh, I need to deal with this. So that way you can shift into as well being grateful for those painful patterns because they're loud, they're clear, and they're like, oh, this is fucked up and this isn't working. So it allows you to actually have a little bit more urgency. And all of us have different pain thresholds, right? So if you've had a painful pattern from a young age that helped you survive, childhood abuse or emotional abuse or neglect or abandonment, it feels familiar, even though it doesn't feel good. And sometimes those are a little bit more confusing or not as clear to people because they've they had it usually from like pre-verbal or very young stages and ages where they weren't cognitive or rationally aware that these patterns are, you know, a survival pattern or something that other people don't use and do because they didn't grow up in similar situations. So part of this awareness is really tapping into what isn't working, what does work, and the things that aren't working. That's where we break those patterns and we learn how to create new ones. So the second step after this awareness is moving into this, what I call emotional healing. But this is really teaching you how to shift your internal state. So your mind, your emotions, your nervous system reactions, right? So if you get triggered by something, it's not always rational or cognitive. A lot of the time it can be an emotional flashback, or your nervous system, your body is having a fight, flight, or freeze reaction to a perceived threat around something like this isn't safe. So you kick in. Hey, Ara, welcome. Glad you're here. So when you kick in to not being aware of your own emotions, your own internal state, and you're coming from a place of fear or lack or scarcity, you are not in your power. You are in survival mode. You're in, I don't know, like in where fear takes over the brain and you're not actually rationally thinking. You're in, I need to take action. I need to get safe. I need to get out of the situation. And that can sometimes initiate you to break a pattern. However, it's usually the trigger point where people get hooked into a pattern to where they unconsciously go into sabotage, to holding back, to being stuck in fear and lack, and all those things because they haven't learned how to hold the emotions, the thoughts, and question them and move with them and see what's really coming up. So the second step in this emotional healing is to shift your internal state out of the fear, out of the lack, out of the scarcity, and back into your truth, into love, into abundance, and to come back into the truth that nothing is missing, to come back into the truth that I don't need this external thing to shift in order for me to feel better. And it's kind of, I will be honest, like for me, a lot of the time it's been like a huge mind fuck, especially like a big one for me over the last couple of years and starting my own business was around money, right? Like I've always worked 2 to 3 jobs in order to like make sure I had money for all the things and was saving $1,000 a month and like all like so responsible, never had credit card debt, had 800 credit, like all the things. And when I started my business, I invested $50,000 over the past 4 years into my business and um, decided to go all in on it and not take other jobs and all these different things where all of this money stuff came up and it was messy and it's been messy. And it's been this healing process around seeing like how I base all of my self-worth, my success, my capabilities, my what I've learned over the years, all of these things. And if my business doesn't take off, it means I'm a failure. If my business doesn't take off, it means I obviously I'm not a good coach. It means that I couldn't figure it out. It means I wasn't good at sales. It means that people don't fucking like me. It means like all this shit. And at the end of the day, with money, especially, it's always like I know how to go like get a job and do you know all of that. And at the end of the day, I was making so much of it mean so much about myself and gotten so much fear and scarcity and worthiness and all of those things. And the beauty of that is that it came up with so much healing around it. So diving into what does it mean about me when I don't have the thing that I want, whether it's the money, whether it's the business, whether it's the relationship, whether it's your health, right? That's something else that came up for me as I grew up with endometriosis, had extreme chronic pain every month for the majority of my life. They've actually done studies to show that endometriosis pain for women is this as painful as having a heart attack. And most women are told that it's all in their head, that they just need to get a hysterectomy or go on birth control, or that they give them painkillers that most women get addicted to, and all this crazy shit I've been told and experienced a lot of that. And in that pattern, I made that that chronic pain mean a lot about me and my life around what I could do for my jobs. Like I would have to call out sick 1 or 2 days every month if I was scheduled to work that day, especially when I was like teaching yoga, which was like a whole other like nauseous and dizzy and like wanting to vomit and all the things. Like it was excruciating. And so what that meant about my success, what that meant as me being capable to, take on more like leadership, whether that's traveling and speaking and traveling and holding seminars, and oh my God, I can't, what if I'm on my period that day and I can't do it? Like literally in the past would not be able to do it. And, or, what that means for my fertility with the scar tissue that happens around that. And if I'm even able to have kids, like all of these things, right? So when we have so much invested of our worth, of what's possible, what's externally, all these things, we base so much of our emotional, mental well-being on that. And it's a process, right? So my the second step around emotional healing and to shift your internal state is how can you in this moment find the happiness, find the joy, find the relief, find the release, even when there's pain, even when there's pain, even when there's discomfort, even when the money's on the bank account, even when, like, can you still feel worthy? Can you still trust that it's going to happen for you? Can you still have compassion for yourself? And that emotional healing, that internal shift out of the fear, out of the lack, out of the I feel like I'm dying, or like all of those things that are natural human responses to pain, right? We don't want to feel pain as humans, it's natural. But in this internal realm, that shift is essential to quantum shifting, to sticking with your desires and your dreams. And Ara, if you're still here, I love your story around this too, and I hope it's okay that I'm sharing this. But Ara is doing her TEDx, and she has been wanting to do this for years and years and years and years. And because she didn't get it the moment she first tried to go for it, she just would have gave up on it and been like, oh, it's not going to happen because, fill in the blank of all the things that people can think when it doesn't happen immediately. But when you stick with it, when you have that conviction, when you know it's on the way, when you know that you're still going to show up and invest and commit and decide on the things that you want and the things you want to actualize, it'll happen. You just got to stick with it. So the second step around emotional healing is getting into this internal state and this internal shift out of the fear, out of the lack, out of the unworthiness, out of the doubts, out of the overwhelm, and back into your truth, your love, your abundance, what you know is possible, what you know is on the way, what you know that you want to create. And that in of itself can create so much relief for people and is part of this release process. So moving into the third step, once you become aware and once you have this internal emotional shift, you can then step into activating your courage and taking action. So in life, you're always going to have both pain and pleasure. We are complex. We can feel a bajillion things all at once or nothing, right? If we're numb. And when you learn how to hold both the uncomfort and the desire and the pleasure of something, it allows you to take action. So it's not that you're never going to have fear again. It's not that you're never going to experience challenges or things, pain or different things, but can you still take action? Can you still conjure up your courage to hold both the fear and the pain and the desires and the pleasures and take action towards what you want, from the knowing that nothing is missing, from the knowing that this is what you're here to do, from that purpose, from that truth, so that you can allow in more abundance and actualize what you want. So this quite literally is that taking action from that decision, from that investment, from that commitment to yourself, to what you know to be true. That is when people actualize and manifest and create the things that they want. And it's from that place that even if you miss the mark, even if you don't get the thing you want, you're still gonna like love your life along the way. So something that I've been working on pretty intimately with my coach over the last couple years has been really in this process around the emotional healing piece too, around like how can I love what I'm doing right now, even when it doesn't look anything like the way I expected or wanted it to. And there's real power and magic in that. And I'm just reading a comment here. That's what's so challenging for some, from that knowing. Yeah, 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 absolutely. Because most people, they have the desire, but they don't trust that they can have it when it doesn't show up immediately. And we're all guilty of that, right? Like, I've been looking for a partner for years and he hasn't shown up yet. And there's so many timing and who you're showing up as. And when I look back to relationships that I've been in, especially my most recent one, where I was like, I thought it was a guy I was going to marry and la 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 and all the things. And like when I actually look back to it, I'm like, oh God, like who I was and who I was showing up as in that relationship is not who who I want to be in a partnership. So it was actually a gift and a blessing in our breakup, because I was so unaware of all of these like unhelpful, like almost crazy ass patterns that I had in that relationship, that were feeding into this dysfunction and all the things. So the third step is to activate your courage and to take action, even though you're afraid, even when you have doubt, even when you have overwhelm, and to take the action anyway. So, this is being able to hold both the fear and the pain, both the uncertainty and the desires, and but from a place where it's almost like it's pulling you, like your soul is pulling you, of like this inner knowing that nothing is missing, that you can allow more in, that you can actualize what you want. And it's from a place of inner trust. So there has to be this awareness and then the internal shift and the healing to be able to hold that foundation, that ground within yourself. And so the steps here is awareness, the emotional healing to shift your internal state. And then the third is to take action and to activate your courage and to hold both the pain and pleasure, to really allow in that quantum shift. So, like I said, right before, this 3-step process is in my group courses and in my one-to-one sessions with people. We go way more deep into this around, I'm there with you, we're talking about the pattern, I'm seeing how it's showing up emotionally and physically in your body, and we like really get to the root, pull it, and help you start learning how to hold your emotions, your thoughts, and your nervous system through breaking these patterns when they show up, because the patterns are what are holding you back, whether it's a thought pattern or emotional pattern or even a physical pattern of things where we have very intelligently, unconsciously created these things to hold us back, to try and keep us safe. And it's all unconscious. But when we bring them into that awareness and work with them, it is what creates these quantum shifts. So that's it. That is it. So for all of you DIYers who like to take information and go do it on their own, that's it. Work on, bring the awareness to what the pattern is, do the emotional healing to shift your inner state. So you're coming out of the fear, you're coming out of the lack, out of the scarcity, back into your truth, back into what you know for sure, back into the abundance, back into the nothing outside of me is going to, like, I can't base my happiness off of my partner. That's all within me. And the third is to then go take action, right, towards whatever it is that you're wanting to actualize. So, yeah, for all of you that are like, DIY, I got this, like, go do the thing. That's your 3-step process. That is what creates quantum shifts. That is what helps you to literally actualize and do the things that you want. And this becoming aware, healing and shifting your inner state and allowing in what you want is a daily process. So this is a 3-step process that I, again, said I work with my clients on this. We go way more in depth, and there's a lot more of like somatic healing processes of, nervous system regulation and emotional healing and all these body-based practices that we get into a little more fully in this deeper work, but at a foundational level, at a like curriculum level, that is a 3-step process. So with breaking any pattern, the key is to catch it in the moment when you feel triggered, so that you don't continue to go down that familiar path and into that regular loop. So you really, it is a pattern of shifting it in the moment. So the more often you become aware of it, the more often you catch it. It feels kind of clunky and wonky at first when you're first like you're used to reacting in a certain way. You're used to, oh, when this thing happens, whether it's getting angry or shutting down or avoiding or sabotage, whatever that sabotage looks for you, the more that you become aware of when and what triggers it. And this is going to move us into the homework for today, actually. So the more you catch it, this is when you break the patterns, and that's where the work happens, right? So this process is super simple, and it's not easy. It's not always easy in the moment, but when you catch it and when you use these tools, it feels so much better. And you're like, oh God, I'm so glad I didn't like go down that whole rabbit hole. So for our first day together, I'm going to leave you with this and give you a little bit of homework. The homework will not take you more than 5 minutes. You can probably do it while I'm reading it here with you. So grab a pen and paper, whether you're live or replay. And so excited to see a few of you pop in. So thank you to the ladies who popped in and said hi. And if you're watching the replay, you little sexy replay watchers. Okay, so grab your pen and paper. And I want you to list out the patterns of sabotage. You saboteur. So write out the patterns that you're aware of so that you just kind of have this knowing that, oh yeah, these are my comfort zones. These are my go-tos. These are part of the identity that this character I've been playing up until this time in my life. So really just getting to see where they show up. Is it around your money? Is it, you're going to have different patterns in different areas of your life, but what are the ones that are causing you pain, that are the loud ones right now that you're wanting, that you're like, I'm fucking over this? And write that down. And then next, I want you to write out, and take your time with this. Like if you like really write out those patterns until you can't think of anything. And there will always be more. There will always be more to be revealed. So the next is to, what are the situations, the person, the people, the place, or the thing that usually triggers this pattern? So this could be an overdrafted bank account. This could be when you try to share something to your partner and they shut you down, or they're completely uninterested in what you have to say, or they forget something, or they don't talk to you, or whatever. This could be you're a business owner and you're not getting clients, even though you're like putting it out there and you're showing up and you're doing the things. This could be that you want to expand your business, but you're not showing up, and you get stuck in all the overwhelm and the doubt and the shutting down because you have a fear of public speaking, or a fear of being seen, or a fear. What are the situations, person, place, or thing, the situationships, whatever, that trigger this unwanted pattern to come in? It sends you into a shame spiral. It shuts you down. It makes you want to go take a nap or avoid your life for the day or whatever. Just noticing if some of the main triggers for it. So this is something I used. I spoke about this in my group course today. I was sharing, like, I used to be really, really jealous in relationships, and it wasn't even about the person. It was more about the fear of being abandoned, and the fear that they were going to love someone over me, or they were going to leave, or that kind of thing. And so when I became aware of that pattern, and when I finally realized what was actually triggering it, that is where I started to unhook and start healing, and being able to manage. Like, now I know certain situations, certain behaviors, certain things for me that trigger that. And I know how to not go into the like really crazy shit that I used to do around that. Okay, so the next is, what are the deeper feeling states associated with it? So when you get triggered, when this pattern wants to come in, what is the feeling state underneath it? So like I just said, I used to feel jealousy. It was a fear of abandonment. It was a fear of losing love, of being left. So what's underneath this pattern and the trigger? Is it pain? Is it fear? Is it grief? Is it a feeling of lack? Is it a fear of abandonment? Is it feeling not worthy? Is it feeling not smart enough, not enough? what is that for you? So listing out, there's usually only 1 to 3 for this. It's usually one core one, but what is the deeper feeling underneath it? So really this is taking out, mindset works superficially. It's up here, it's tinkering and reframing, retraining your brain. But when we get into the internal work, the deeper emotional wisdom and work, most people do not feel that. And I'm going to say, like, mainstream people are not, they don't have the emotional wisdom, the capacity, or the depth to, or the space to actually understand what the fuck is going on in their world. So it's really tapping into, like, what is this deeper feeling state? And this is where actual maturity comes in. This is where actual wisdom comes in, right? Around knowing, like, all this stuff that's triggering me outside, that's causing me to go into these patterns, protective patterns or shutdown patterns or attack patterns or whatever. What is it actually underneath that? The fear of not being heard, the fear of being abandoned, the fear of losing love. There's grief, there's anger. You don't feel worthy. You feel like you're going to get attacked. Like, what is the actual thing underneath it? Because if there wasn't a deeper fear or pain or lack or scarcity there, you would just go do the thing. You wouldn't have this protective mechanism around this feeling. So really, you'll see where these patterns are actually, they're protective patterns. You learn them at some point in your life, whether it was in young stages or from cataclysmic events like divorce or losing your money or whatever the thing is. But when we can get to the core feeling and understand the triggers and the patterns around it, it's a lot easier to work with and to unhook and to break the pattern. So next is, what do you feel is missing when you don't get the thing you want? So whether it's the clients or having your partner show up a certain way so that you feel good, or having your business look a certain way. And I guess a better way to ask this question is, how will you feel when you get the thing? Or what do you feel is missing when you don't have it? So this could be connection, love, impact, purpose, safety, right? There's this whole thing around safety and security with our finances, even though that it's all fucking made up. It's all just, it's real and we need it. It's important, but and it's all made up and it could disappear overnight. You know, anyone that's experienced crashes in the market, they've lost all their money overnight. It's all fucking made up. So what is it that you feel like you'll get when you have the thing, feeling wise? Like, you'll feel love, you'll feel connected, you'll feel confident, being aware of where you're hooking in a future tense, a future sense of self into, when I have this thing, then I'll feel, or when I have this thing, then I'll have. So what is it that you feel in this moment is missing because you don't have the thing that this pattern that you're experiencing is keeping you from? And what is the feeling state you desire to step into regardless if your situation changes? What is the feeling state that you desire to step into regardless if the situation changes? So if you never find your life partner, if you never make the money in your business, if you never get the clients, if you never, whatever it is for you, what if nothing were to change? How, if anything was possible and you could feel however you wanted to in this moment, what is the feeling state you desire to feel regardless if this situation changes? I want you to write that down. So taking a moment here. Hey, Fabiola. And having this list, so this is your homework with the pen and paper. So listing this, I'll just revisit this because a few of you just popped in. The homework is to list out, what is the pattern? What is the pattern that you're trying to break? There could be more than one, but usually one is the loudest. And how does it show up in your life? It could be around money. It could be around your business. It could be, like, again, there could be several, but list out the patterns. What is the sabotage pattern that you're experiencing? How does it show up in your life? The next is, what are the situations, people, person, place, thing, bank account, that triggers the pattern, the sabotage pattern? Is it when you want to go do something in your business and go live and you're overwhelmed and all the crazy thoughts and shit that comes up and then you just don't do it because all of your insecurities and overwhelm and all the shit comes in? What are the situations, the person, place, things that trigger the pattern, right? And then what are the deeper feeling states that are associated, that get triggered by this pattern? So it could be pain, fear, grief, abandonment, lack, not worthy, not smart enough, not enough, incompetence, shame. I used to, but I don't now. Like whatever that is. And then the next is, what do you feel is missing? So what do you feel like you would have once you get the thing that you want? So what's on the other side of the pattern? What do you feel is missing when you don't get what you want? And what is the feeling state you desire to step into regardless if the situation changes? This was a huge learning experience for me when I was living in LA. I worked at a restaurant down there that Oprah bought into. So I actually got to meet Oprah and shake her hand through working at this job that I hated. But it allowed me, and actually one of my first coaching clients was one of my not employees, but one of my peers. So this job actually afforded me a lot of really amazing experiences. However, I hated it. It was, our management was like very toxic, and I hated being there. And something that was really powerful that my coach at the time was like, how do you want to feel? Like, if this situation never changes, how do you want to feel? How do you want to show up? Because it's in that shift of showing up how you want to feel until the situation changes is really like that's a quantum shift in it of itself. So what is the feelings that you desire to step into regardless if the situation changes or not? And that's going to give you relief. That's going to give you peace. That's going to give you a sense of choice. That's going to give you a sense of authority. And that is literally where quantum shifts can happen, just in and of itself. So write out your list. Again, you probably just did this with me, so it's not like an all-time consuming homework event. But it's very impactful. It's very insightful. It's very clarifying, all of those things. And it sets a foundation for you to have clarity over knowing yourself. So it's like a little owner's manual to your own fucked up patterns. And I say fucked up with love. I'm saying that lightly. So bring this list for tomorrow, as this is the foundation for your quantum shift, right? You probably actually had some quantum shifts just in going through this time together, right? You're shifting your perceptions, you're shifting your state, you're shifting into coming back to your truth, coming back into a better feeling state, coming back into a regulated state, all of those things. So tomorrow we'll be talking about embodying your next level now, rather than continuing to chase what you think is missing, and own your abundance, own your confidence, and really stepping into feeling how you want to feel now, quantum shifting in that way, which increases your impact, it increases your income, it increases your confidence, and it creates actual healing in breaking these patterns, shifting and having this sense of control over your own emotions and sense of reactions to things, and having better tools to prepare you for when these things happen, because there's always going to be pain and fear and things in life that happen. So having these internal dynamics and tools and learning how to navigate those is essential for you to have quantum shifts, for you to create the life you want and actualize the things that you desire. So I'm so excited for all of you that popped in today. I'm excited to see who catches the replays and lives. Make sure to do your homework if you didn't already here with me on the live. But I'm so excited to share with you tomorrow, really stepping into this quantum shift. And I'm pretty positive you probably had some big ahas and shifts in this session. So again, there's a 3-step process. For those of you DIYers that like to go take knowledge and go do it on your own, you've got it. You don't even need to show up for tomorrow. But we will be stepping into the embodiment tomorrow. So it's going to be way more around learning how to actually felt sense of a quantum shift in your body, and looking forward to that. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.